2024 went by like this, and I always tell everybody, I feel like for me, the older I get, the more stuff I try to cram into a day, the more stuff I try to cram into a week, a month, and definitely a year. And the more I do that, the faster and faster time goes by. And 2024 was no exception. All the things that happened this year, it was kind of a blur. There was just so much going on. You go all the way back to the very first thing we did last year, and I believe we were out at the Bush Wildlife. And then you think of like Garden Answer, you think of the 23 different projects we did. And when you simplify it and you just say, you know, we did 23 projects, you're like, wonder what the heck you did the rest of the year. Well, we did the Bush Wildlife thing. I went to Australia, built some amazing projects here in the Chicagoland area, did different academies and training, just all kinds of stuff. And so I'd like to just kind of stroll down memory lane, show you guys some of my favorite projects of the year. So we started off last year with Bush Wildlife. I've never had the opportunity to build a water feature for otters, and it was really, really cool. And what I love most about it is to see the pictures and the videos that the Bush Wildlife Sanctuary keeps sending us back of how the otters are using it. And simultaneously, while I was doing that, Ed was at the same place building a pond for a bear. And I remember being a little jealous because I wanted to build that pond for the bear. It was cool that we were working simultaneously together, training and teaching and collaborating with our CACs and just getting some really epic features figured out. And word has it that the bear is now loving it. He's in there using it and doing bear things, which is really cool. Well, they loved it so much, we loved it so much, we're gonna go back there again this year. And this year, I get to build a pond for Camp Kennan, which is only a few miles away. We're gonna be building a massive pond for some pretty big turtles. And simultaneously, we'll be back at Bush Wildlife doing a pond for a mountain lion, which is gonna be really, really, really cool. Can't wait to do that. Shortly after Bush Wildlife, which was a great experience, I flew off to Australia with Jack Harju from Atlantis Water Gardens. We built a great feature down there. I was pinching myself the fact that I was in Australia down south of Perth near Margaret River, staying at an unbelievable house overlooking the ocean. Every day we worked out over the ocean and got to build a really, really cool memorial type project for a fantastic family down there. Someday we hope to get back there and see that thing running, because unfortunately we didn't. Came back here, did all kinds of things with our retail store, ripped apart a pond that had been there for over 10 years, gave it a brand new look, opened up some views to outside. Once those views outside opened up, we said, gosh, we should switch out these urns with some of our newer spheres. We had those giant 6-foot spheres made, and we said this would look so much more to scale with our building. So we did all of that. We did some things in the fish room. We switched out the white sand that was down on the bottom. Oh my gosh, now I'm really like, I can't believe we got all this done. But we switched out that white sand in the bottom to the black stuff. The fish looks so good, that black backdrop swimming along the bottom of that pond there. And when you think of all those transformations we made in the retail store and then those big spheres outside, how can we not forget who used to be the pond fairy transitioning into the lily sheriff? Great transition, pond guy. And the epic vision he had for all of those tropical lilies, bringing in Tom Holtz from Florida with those massive lilies, getting some giant koi from the Carolinas out there, and making our front pond look better than it's ever looked before. Every year people ask us, what do we do in the winter? And the winter flies by like this because we have so many initiatives here in the building. We do so many training events. We do different little projects. We travel, and all of a sudden spring comes and we're right into clean out season. Finished up clean out season, went right, I think even before clean out season, we did a small basalt column project, made sure those things were set up with a pretty big reservoir to make it go winter running, and then went into our 23 different projects of the year. Some of my favorites, and not in any order, and not that one was more favorite than the other, but if I can think of some, fantastic project we did in Naperville with a nice little bridge. Just loved the transformation, loved the couple that we worked for. It had been a dream of theirs. They didn't have children, and the koi were their children, so everything they were doing was for their children, the koi, and they said, let's drop some money on this. Took an enormous amount of money and said, this is what we love doing. We don't vacation. We don't spend our money on anything else but our backyard. backyard, so why not just make our backyard the ultimate vacation spot? And it was a huge transformation. It was such an awesome project. Did a great job out in Riverside, Brookfield, with the well pump and harvesting rainwater. Really cool looking stream. Great design with like the stream wrapping around, fire pit with a bridge going over it. How can I forget like one of the very first projects we did out in Beloit, that massive pond with the big waterfalls and the stepping stones coming across, everything going into a big rainwater harvesting system. I just think that project turned out so good. Imagine what that thing's gonna look like year after year. We have to go back. The one thing we all know, ponds are one of the very few things you can buy that only mature and look better and better over time. Not too many other things do that. We did that fantastic job down in Bloomington, Illinois. Went down there with, again, Jack Harju from Atlantis Water Gardens, Ralph Bezad from Pondscapes AZ, Billy Harmon from Brothers Water Features. An awesome collaboration. Built the biggest pond I think I've ever built in the shortest amount of time. It was such a massive pond, and to get that thing done, and I think 12 working days with such a small crew was pretty insane. Brett, the homeowner down there, continues to send me pictures of how he's loving it, living that aquascape lifestyle. So appreciative of all the work that went in. We had some other really cool small projects. You know, we did some different fountainscapes. We did some really great pondless waterfalls. We did some ponds. There's really a water feature for everybody out there. And it also can fit a budget for everybody out there. So we not only do giant projects, but we do a lot of smaller, more intimate projects as well, and trying to figure out the project that best suits that family and that unique space. How could I not forget epic dream stream we built, right? For Laura out there with Garden Answer. A few years back, Laura and I met for the first time. We just seemed to really hit it off. Laura obviously has a huge following, but invited us out to build her a dream stream onto her existing pond. And Laura, like so many of our customers, couldn't really mentally picture what we were going to do. I know Laura thought we were just going to build this kind of meandering little stream, little flow, kind of trickling over some boulders, more hand-sized type rocks, not massive rocks this big that needed multiple machines. But we built that 100+ foot stream in 2.5 days with the dream team. We had all of the past artists of the year out there, regional winners of the year out there, and built an amazing project. And after that project, what I realized is how much we can get done when we collaborate and work together. There's an enormous amount of talent all over the world at this point, from Australia to the UK to Africa, of course here in the US, and bringing those guys in to do an epic project like that and put all egos aside and everybody just use their skill sets to build something so amazing was very rewarding for me. Probably one of my most memorable projects. But working with Laura, Erin, her children, and to see the joy that she's getting out of that is no different than any project we do together. And I know I'm bouncing around all over the place, but that's what happens. You know, your memory as you get older also gets a little scattered. You know, and you can start off the year thinking about some of the few things you did. You can kind of go to the end, but of course we had so much stuff that filled in between. And as I think about some of the other things like Pondemonium, all of those contractors to come in to build a project that Ed and I, the pond professor, and I have been thinking about since the day we moved into this building, that big weepy wall project over there. Doing that with all the CACs, you know, the waterfall competition that we had in the back and how much fun that was with the super soakers, the camaraderie that happens at Pondemonium, which leads into all the different pond tours. We did three pond tours this year. Laura came out for one of the pond tours, saw her favorite residential garden of all times, just thought it was amazing. We had a great time taking her and Kevin from Epic Gardens out on a personal pond tour and got to show them how so many of our customers live that aquascape lifestyle. You guys remember we're gonna have a couple pond tours this year. Go on our website, check out those dates because it's so much fun to walk around people's backyards that are into the same thing that you guys are in. We built that new feature back in the Aqua Gardens. I'd always wanted to build a small project out of giant boulders, and to this date, I still don't like that one rock. You'll have to go back and check out that one rock I'm talking about. Most people loved it. I'm probably being a little picky on myself, but I love that pond back there. It's one of my favorite ponds of all time. tiny pond, 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 pound boulders in a 8 by 8 foot pond. Just such a cool look. And the fish are just loving it back there. We added the new filter bowls to that. We have our giant 60-inch bowls that we added to it. Those came in late in the season last year. So this year, of course, in 2025, I've got all kinds of features. I can think of putting those different bowls on, and now with the filter addition to it, how can we up people's filtration? 2024 was also the use of bio balls and so many of our wetland filters, and I think it's just gonna become the norm, getting these ponds even that much more pristine. Oh gosh, how could I forget that other project I did with Jack Harju and Ralph Bezat out in Idaho? 185 foot long stream built in, I think, 12 working days, working with their family to help with some of the labor. Again, just a fantastic family. Every single day made us an epic breakfast, an epic lunch, and dinners. Hardest working family I've ever worked with, and it turned out to be one of the coolest projects of all time. Most memorable part of that project for me was just that giant circle patio that intercepted the stream about a third of the way down. Just so cool. Yeah, working with Ralph and Jack Harju out there, just another memory and a really, really cool project. So yeah, gosh, I'm almost out of breath thinking of all the different projects. It really goes by quick. And if last year was busy, 2025 is not going to be any exception. We've already got most of our year full. It's filling up fast. So I can't wait to share with you guys again. You guys, thank you so much for watching Team Aquascape. Hopefully you enjoy watching as much as we enjoy doing it. And you guys, make sure you hit that like button. Tell all of your friends about Team Aquascape. Hopefully we're inspiring, educating, and promoting that aquascape lifestyle. You guys have a great 2025. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon. Bye.